Kimberly Karen Mota de Oliveira's story began in the municipality of Manacor in the state of Amazonas in northern Brazil, where she was born on February 26, 1998. Kimberly was the first child of Nila Pinheiro Mota and had a younger brother named Aravan Mendes. Her charm and beauty immediately won over those around her from her early childhood. In her youth, Kimberly was very active, engaged in dancing and modeling. She dreamed of becoming a model and participating in beauty contests. Her mom, Nila, seeing her daughter's passion, supported her and helped her to start a career in this field. In addition to beauty and dreaminess, Kimberly had determination, studied well, and wanted to become a doctor. After graduating high school with honors, she went to university in Paraguay, but for unknown reasons, she had difficulty adapting to life in a new country, so she returned to Brazil, where she decided to continue her technical studies as a nurse and develop her modeling career. In 2019, Kimberly's efforts were rewarded when she was selected to participate in the My Amazons contest. This pageant was an important step on the way to the Miss Brazil finals, and the winner is expected to represent the state of Amazonas. At the Miss Amazonas pageant, Kimberly competed on behalf of her municipality of Manacor. After participating in this pageant, she was noticed by modeling agencies and began to be invited to model. Along with modeling, Kimberly completed nursing courses in order to achieve her goal of becoming a dentist. She applied for a scholarship that allowed her to continue her studies in Manaus. Through her determination and luck, Kimberly received this scholarship and moved to Manaus, where she lived with her uncle, Henry Mota. Kimberly never gave up hope of winning the Miss Amazonas pageant and applied again, realizing that this was an important step towards her dream and that she had to do her best to win. Kimberly became more mindful of her diet, started running regularly, and participated in advertising campaigns to support herself financially. Kimberly was also able to earn extra money by selling her clothes and decided to set aside a large portion of her income to open her own dental office in the future. It was very important for Kimberly Karen to maintain her social media accounts. There, she shared her photos, wrote motivational posts, and actively interacted with her followers. One of them was a man named Raphael Fernandes Rodrigues, who was born in 1988 in São Bernardo do Campo, Brazil. His father is Nilton Rodrigues, and the family is very wealthy. Information about Raphael's mother remains confidential. Rodrigues worked as a judicial analyst at the Regional Labor Court. He was married but was aggressive towards his wife, controlling her every move, jealous, abusive, and hitting. Wife filed for divorce after 2 years of marriage as she could not tolerate such things. Soon after Rodrigues started following Kimberly's profile, they started communicating through social media. He used all his seduction skills to get her attention, and after a while, they started dating. Raphael rented a luxurious apartment in the city center, bought an expensive car. In the beginning, the relationship seemed happy, but soon Rodrigues began to repeat his negative traits from his previous marriage. He began to control every action of Kimberly, express jealousy, and even use physical force. He also forbade communication with male employers. Kimberly did not like the behavior of her companion, and they often had quarrels on this ground. After such arguments, Raphael sent flowers to Kimberly and started calling her at any time of the day or night. Kimberly's best friend noticed the constant arguments and reconciliations and tried to tell her that such behavior of Raphael could lead to something bad. But Kimberly was very much in love and did not notice or listen to her best friend. The model spent almost all her time in the luxurious apartment Rodrigues, with the exception of the night. Kimberly spent the night at her home. Despite this, Raphael proposed to Kimberly to start living together and proposed marriage to her. Marriage was not in Kimberly's plans, and she honestly admitted it to Raphael. The guy was very angry about it, so he began to threaten her with the breakup of the relationship. But soon he again sent his beloved flowers to apologize. After this fight, Kimberly and Raphael did not communicate. Kimberly told her mother that she was very unhappy in the relationship and saw no future in it. On Sunday, May 10th, 2020, Kimberly, her uncle Henry, and friends went jogging at Mindu Park, and Raphael joined them. Rodrigues and Kimberly acted normally as if there was no fight between them. In the afternoon, the model went to her friend's house and texted Nayla to wish her a happy Mother's Day. In the evening, Kimberly called a cab, but after seeing the high cost, she decided to call Raphael. He arrived at 10 p.m., after which CCTV captured Kimberly getting into his car. They then drove to her home, where they were again caught on the cameras. An hour later, Kimberly texted her uncle that she had gone to Raphael's house and asked him not to lock the door because she had forgotten her keys. Her young man promised that he would bring her back home in a little while. After Kimberly and Raphael arrived at his house, Kimberly went to take a shower and left her phone by the bed. Her boyfriend decided to take advantage of this and read the correspondences. He didn't expect to see Kimberly's interactions there with boyfriends, friends, and acquaintances, and his jealousy and rage took over. Rodriguez took a knife from the kitchen and hid it under his pillow. When Kimberly got out of the shower and lay next to Raphael in bed and couldn't even suspect what would happen next, he attacked his companion and stabbed her several times, from which she died. After the crime, the criminal decided to hide the evidence. He wiped the blood on the bed and on the floor and tried to wash Kimberly's body in the shower. But he soon realized that it was impossible to hide his actions. Rodriguez changed his clothes, turned on the air conditioning to get rid of the odor, and left the apartment. Surveillance video cameras recorded him going down the elevator and leaving the building. This made it possible to establish the time he got into his car. Raphael drove toward the state of Roraima, located on the southeastern border between Brazil and Venezuela. The next day, Uncle Henry discovered that Kimberly was not home and began to suspect something amiss. He contacted his niece's best friend, who reported that she was also unable to contact her. Henry called all of Kimberly's friends and acquaintances. During this time, Rodriguez reached the state of Roraima. Upon entering the state, he filled out an epidemiological form regarding the coronavirus and indicated that he was traveling to Boa Vista and would be returning to Manaus on May 26th. On May 11th, Henry continued to look for his niece. He went to Raphael's apartment, but no one answered the door. Henry was sure that something had happened to Kimberly and her boyfriend, but the police couldn't do anything, as they had no evidence that would indicate a crime. Also, the police suggested that Kimberly's uncle just wait, as they may have gone on an unplanned trip. Henry was desperate and didn't know what to do next. At the same time, while Henry was searching, Raphael was involved in a traffic accident near the municipality of Caracaray. His car overturned and completely crashed, causing him to lose his documents and phone. Rodriguez walked to the nearest village and asked for help. He managed to find a driver who was going to Caracaray, where Raphael managed to withdraw money, call a cab, and get to Boa Vista. The criminal needed to confuse the trail and get to Spain via Venezuela. He had relatives living in Spain where he could hide out, but as time went on, no one knew the whereabouts of Raphael and Kimberly. The police finally started searching, contacted Raphael's father, Nilton, and got permission to search his son's apartment. On Tuesday, May 12th, Manaus police and military police got into Raphael's apartment and found Kimberly's body there, with a kitchen knife on the terrace. The instrument of crime was immediately sent for examination, and after the examination, it was found that the knife had Raphael Rodriguez's fingerprints on it. This crime was instantly recognized by the entire city through the media. The police informed Nila's mother that her daughter was dead. After the search, Raphael was put on a wanted list because no one knew anything about his whereabouts. Raphael's mother did not believe that her son could have committed a crime. According to her, he was very successful, financially prosperous, and most likely he was robbed and kidnapped, and Kimberly became an unwilling victim. But police doubted the mother's word, and they checked the security cameras at Raphael's home. The camera footage and forensics made Rodriguez the prime suspect, and the Amazonas State Court issued a temporary detention warrant. The Department of Security posted a picture of the perpetrator in the media and indicated where to go to report his whereabouts. The very next day, the police were able to trace Raphael's entire journey, from the sanitary border between Amazonas and Roraima to the overturned car near Caracaray. Raphael's father couldn't handle the stress over his son, and on May 14th took his own life on the tracks of the Barra Funda subway in San Francisco. 3 countries joined forces to catch the perpetrator: Brazil, Guyana, and Venezuela. A lot of work was done by police officers, and upon entering Venezuela, Raphael was denied entry into the country by local authorities. Rodriguez realized that he was already a wanted man and needed to seek temporary housing from local Venezuelans. He was not refused and was taken into the forest to a makeshift hut in the Morro do Chiabo neighborhood. And then an anonymous informant was found, who pointed out Raphael's whereabouts and even the people he was with. The police encountered resistance in catching the criminal. A group of people defended Raphael and were armed with machetes. But on the afternoon of May 15th, the police managed to get to Raphael. This led to the arrest of the two criminals who were guarding Raphael. They were charged with assisting in an escape attempt. Raphael was brought to Manaus and placed in a police station that specialized in murder and kidnapping. The perpetrator did not deny his involvement in Kimberly's death because the police had presented him with enough evidence to prove his guilt. The state prosecutor's office soon charged him with the crime.
Kimberly's mothers were told that they had found the person who took their daughter's life. The news also spread quickly through the victim's hometown of Manacor. For them, the news of Raphael's arrest was a joyous occasion. Raphael's lawyers announced before the trial that he was mentally ill. The judge sent him for a psychiatric evaluation. But a few months later, the results came back. Rafael Rodriguez was mentally healthy, which means that at the time of the crime, he was acting in a conscious state and at the moment is able to stand trial. And so on December 9, 2020, the state of Amazonas held the first hearing in the case. Rodriguez exercised his right to remain silent, and he also did not answer questions from Prosecutor Clarice and Judge Anicio. The day included the testimony of 8 witnesses who were presented by both the defense and the prosecution. While the search for the perpetrator and the trials were underway, Kimberly's mother was diagnosed with leukemia. She fought for her life and for justice for her daughter. After a long study of the case, analyzing the materials, on April 12, 2021, Judge Anicio ruled that Raphael should be tried by a jury of the people. The jury trial, consisting of 4 men and 3 women, was set for October 27th of that same year. Kimberly's mother, Nila, was a witness for the prosecution via video link, as she was in the ward of the Getulio Vargas Hospital at the time. Also, after answering questions from the prosecution and defense, Nila stated that despite the pain of the loss, she holds no grudge against Raphael. After the rest of the defense and prosecution witnesses were questioned, the results of the forensic examinations were attached and read out. And now, it was the turn of the accused. He did not answer any question, only to the question of his lawyer, Josemar Berco. What was the motive of the crime? Was it jealousy or something else? Rodriguez answered that the motive was Kimberly's lying to him. She deceived him by looking him in the eye, and he knew the truth from the messages in her phone. After that, the defense and prosecution started debating. 2 prosecutors reviewed all the evidence. The judge decided to postpone the end of the trial to the next day. And so on Thursday, October 28th, it was time for the jury to deliberate and decide on Raphael's fate. There were several charges against him that included violations of Article 121 of the Penal Code related to murder. Subparagraph 1, malicious motive. Subparagraph 4, using a legal defense that excludes the victim's defense. And subparagraph 6, feminicide. Rafael Fernandez Rodriguez was found guilty of the offense. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison. After the trial ended, Neil's mother passed away in the hospital. Family, friends, and anyone who knew or even occasionally heard of Kimberly Karen Mota de Oliveira believed that Raphael was given the sentence in error and should have received a longer sentence. Kimberly remained to the locals and her family forever the beauty queen of Manacor.